Greetings and salutations, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Behind the Bib. I'm your host, Lisa Watkins, and I am delighted to be with you all here in the middle of the day, in the middle of the afternoon, the middle of the night, or in the middle of your long run. First and foremost, like always, speaking of likes, thank you for everyone who has liked, followed, and supported Behind the Bib out there on the social landscapes. Every single interaction, every single comment, every single share, episode download, it all helps me get this content out in front of runners and would-be runners that are like you and me. I actually had some great engagement this week. Who would have thought that folks had such passionate opinions about the Taco Bell Ultra? And I don't know if you guys have been following this, but the Taco Bell Ultra is coming up in Denver, Colorado at the end of October. And as you all know, one of my daughters lives out in Boulder. And I was recently visiting her when I was listening to a Back of the Pack episode where Kyle Walker is talking about the Taco Bell Ultra. Well, I immediately had to proceed over to the Taco Bell there in Boulder and partake of a cantina. I think I got a cantina burrito or something like that. Anyway, it got me thinking. I was like, dang, it's an ultra. You have like all day to do it. And anyway, I digress already. I'm 30 seconds into this episode and I'm already digressing and talking about this Taco Bell Ultra. All of this is to say, thank you. If you have posted, if you have commented, if you have interacted with me in some shape or form or fashion on social media, thank you. Seriously, honest to God, it helps get this content out there in front of people because every time you like it, you watch the reel from beginning to end or 7 seconds or whatever, it pushes it to more people's pages. And so more people are exposed to Behind the Bib and this inclusive community that we are trying to build. Because we all know that the running, you start running for one reason, but you keep running for an entirely different reason. And it just helps so much. So thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Also, congratulations to all those Huntsvillians and Behind the Bib listeners who participated in the Chicago Marathon. I saw a bunch of your names out there scrolling by, so congratulations. I actually got into Chicago last year. Wow, that has been a long time ago in my head, but it was really just last year. I got into Chicago last year, but it ended up being the same weekend, or maybe it was like the weekend before Every Woman's Marathon, and I thought, oh, there's no way. Maybe it was a couple of weekends before, but I just knew that there's no way I could do 2 marathons back to back there like that. I knew I wasn't going to be there. I elected to go run the Every Woman's Marathon instead, and that doesn't mean I don't have the World Majors on my list, my bucket list of runs to do. I absolutely do have all the World Majors out there, but I just wasn't willing to give up the Every Woman's Marathon last year, and I'm so glad I made that decision. But all of that is to say, congratulations. If you guys ran the Chicago this past weekend, congratulations to you. If you were one of those runners that I saw the reel about, or I made the reel about, that you're coming in with the pace truck or the sweeper van, and you've got like a minute 40 on the clock, and you're just running your hearts out. Oh my God. That is just awesome. The Back of the Packers, they have the heart. Like if you ever go to these races and you're like cheering on New York or anything like that, the folks that are at the back of the pack, they're out there for 6-7 hours. Those are the people with stalwart mental game, and they have the heart, right? So that was so inspiring to see. I just love watching that. So congratulations to all of you runners who have done Chicago this past weekend. Okay, another shout out and congratulations. I guess it's congratulations. We can say congratulations to all the runners that showed up to the Huntsville pub run so it was the annual inflatable pub run this past Wednesday. And I think it's the second annual. And so Jeff and Jerry Plain have just done an awesome and amazing job with this downtown Huntsville pub run. And the run has grown. They regularly have over 200 people showing up. But what is more impressive, or what is the most impressive, I guess, about our running community here in Huntsville is that last year I think Jeff said that we had, 57-ish runners last year that showed up with inflatable costumes. This year we had over 80 people, 80 runners show up in inflatable costumes, and we took over downtown Huntsville. We did a loop around the park, and we came back to the Hampton Inn there, who has always been wonderful and welcoming to the Huntsville Pub Run group. But that was just fabulous. I need to go out there. Surely we made the news somewhere. We had to have, because people were stopping. They thought we were in a parade, right? But we weren't. It was just the downtown Huntsville Pub Run. It was fantastic. Hats off to all you runners who showed up in inflatable costumes. I got a great picture of all of the unicorns that showed up for the inflatable run. And by the way, if you didn't know, a group of unicorns is called a blessing. So how about that? We were a blessing to folks in downtown Huntsville. Kind of neat, huh? Congratulations to all of you who showed up, did that run, but also a great big huge thank you to Jeff and Jerry Plain, who continue to put on that run week after week, Wednesday after Wednesday, and does just awesome, fantastic events for our running community. So thank you for everything that you do for the community. Speaking of the Every Woman's Marathon, I know I don't go an episode without talking about it, but speaking of Every Woman's Marathon, we are coming up on peak week, and we had about 17 miles on the plan. This past weekend, we did 17 miles, and then we have 19, and then 21, and then we go into taper. So excited for taper. I actually can't believe, we've been training for, maybe 15, 16 weeks already, and I can't believe that the marathon is just right around the corner. But this past weekend, 17 miles, it still got pretty warm out there, 80-something degrees here in Huntsville, and Running Buddy Christy had to give me a couple of pep talks. I thought that today we can talk about mantras, and that is not only to help yours truly get back into her mantra head game, but also I thought, well, if it's going to help me, and I'm doing this in advance of, training for this marathon, etc., to help me get through all the things, it might also help you get through all of the things. So today I'm going to give you 5 tips for creating mantras that will not only help you feel better during your race, but it will help you implement these in your life as well. Stay tuned and we will get into it. Okay, here's a confession. Miles 4 to 7 usually suck really bad for me. And that's because the first few miles, I'm just kind of getting settled in, right? And then miles 4 to 7, I really start to think about what the crap I'm doing again. And then if I have 17, 18, 19, 20 miles, 26 miles on the training plan for that day, I start to get in my head really bad on miles 4 to 7. And I know it, and I'm trying to combat that and help myself with some self-talk and some motivational self-talk and things like that to help me quit spiraling so bad during those 4 to 7 miles. Because that's just really when I get in and I'm like, oh my God, why didn't I just pick pickleball as a hobby? Why did I literally pick the hardest hobby? I can't imagine a harder hobby right now in this moment than trying to run 20 more miles. Why would I do this to myself? Every step is hard. So you see how this just devolves into this spiral of just negative self-talk, right? So I'm trying to get out of that. And one of the best ways to do that is by using mantras. And there's a voice that just comes over in my brain that just repeats really bad things. You would never say these to another person. You can't do this. Could you imagine going up to a runner in the middle of the race and say, you can't do this, or you didn't get enough sleep to finish this, or you can't hold on to that pace. Your nutrition wasn't good this week. Can you imagine going up to another runner in a race and actually saying that to their face? Absolutely not. You would never say that to another runner. I hope you would never say that to another runner in the middle of a race. So I just Like, why would we say that to ourselves? I don't think we think about it that way. I think we just like accept that self-talk as fact, but it's really not. Those voices are not telling you the truth. They're trying to protect you from what your body is perceiving as, holy crap, you're running, you're panting, your heart rate is up, your body's moving faster than it normally does. There must be danger somewhere. Danger, danger, danger. All the danger signals are going off. And your mind is trying to protect you from what it is considering to be physical danger, like impending danger. But the voice isn't telling you the truth. Really, there's a difference. And let me take a little aside here. When I talk about going through discomfort, what I don't mean is continuing to run through pain. If you have actual pain, I am 100% not a doctor, didn't go to school to be one, don't play one on this podcast. Don't do the things. So I'm not a doctor. Don't go out there and say, well, hey, Lisa from behind the bed said to just keep pushing forward even though I have a bone sticking out of my leg. Don't do that. That's probably not a good idea, right? So I'm not a doctor. Please don't run through pain. Go see your doctor. Go see your physical therapist. Get those things checked out so that you can continue to run for years and years ahead. Okay, back to regularly scheduled programming. So that voice in your head is trying to protect you from the danger or what it perceives as danger because you're running, right? But really, it's not danger. It's not pain. Most likely, when things get hard, this is discomfort. And that's where mantras can really come in. The difference between runners that finish their race strong and they feel strong, they recover better. The difference between those runners and the runners that really and truly struggle, it's not just about physical training. It is also about your mental game. It is what you say to yourself when things get hard. It's that voice that says, just quit, it'll be fine, just play pickleball, pick an easier hobby. It's that voice that you say when things get hard. And guess what? That voice is 100% trainable, just like your body. And today I'm going to give you 5 ways to train that voice so that you can show up to your next race, both prepared mentally as well as physically. And when I say I'm giving you 5 things, I am 100% listening to this myself, and I'm going to employ this myself on my upcoming long runs, getting ready for the Every Woman's Marathon this November. So this is not only for you, this is also for me. I'm just putting it out there for you as well, right? All right, let's talk about it. Your mind is absolutely trainable. First and foremost, if you wouldn't skip your physical run, do not skip on an opportunity to build your mental muscle as well. Running is as much a mental sport as it is a physical one. Every time you push through a tough interval, you finish a long run in the rain, which, by the way, I love running in the rain. It makes me feel like such a G.I. Jane badass. I'm out there like slogging through the rain and splashing through puddles, running my 10:30 mile, and I just feel like I'm on top of the world. Anyway, anytime you show up when you don't feel like it, that's when your mental game gets stronger. You're flexing that mental muscle. You're building that mental strength as well. The same way you build endurance in your legs, you build endurance in your thoughts. So when you start to believe, I can hold on for 1 more mile, 1 more minute, 1 more step, that's mental training in action. So just remember, the mind isn't just along for the ride. It's the driver. It's literally the driver when fatigue sets in. And here's the thing, especially with marathons, this is the saying, you train for the first half marathon. You train for the first half. Your body does the first half. Your mind does the second half. And that is where mantras come in. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the science of mantras. What exactly is a mantra or a mantra if you're in the South? I'm in the South and I call it a mantra, and that's going to be fine. So a mantra is just a short phrase that you repeat when something gets hard. Now you can already see how some of these things can apply specifically. I mean, they apply to running, they apply to lifting weights, they apply to whatever the hell you're talking about. They apply to all of these things, but it also applies to life. So if you follow Coach Bennett on the Nike Run app or on the Coach Bennett podcast, his thing is, this is about running. This is not about running. And mantras are the same thing. So a mantra is a short phrase you repeat when things get hard. Simple, right? It's not magic, it's strategy. And there's actual real science behind this. So when I was doing the research for this episode, I was going up and I was looking up these scientific articles. It's like, is there really science behind this? Yes, there absolutely is science behind this. So sports psychologists call this motivational self-talk. And runners who used short, specific phrases, things like strong and steady or light feet, tall chest, went longer before exhaustion and rated their effort lower than runners who didn't. It's because mantras help you manage the perception of effort. They refer to it as RPE, so rate of perceived effort. They show you how hard something feels, which can make the difference between giving up and pushing through, right? So let's talk about how to actually use them. Okay, so here are the 5 ways that you can use mantras in running and in life. 5 ways to use mantras in running and in life. Tip number 1, train your brain like a muscle. We just talked about this. You wouldn't skip your long runs when you're training for a marathon or for any kind of race. You guys know I use the marathon as an example, but this can be applicable to your first 5K, your first half marathon, your first 50K, or your first 100-miler. I would hope that if you are running 100-milers, you have gotten the mantra science down to an art. But if you haven't, then maybe this episode will help you as well. All right, so tip number 1, train your brain like a muscle. So you're not going to just show up and try to run a marathon. You have to train your brain like you train your legs, like you train your body. So practice in workouts, not just in races. So if you have a long run coming up, if you have, which several of us probably do, if you're training for any of the races in November, or if you're training for the Rocket City Marathon, that's in December, so you're not even to peak week yet. You've got a few more weeks before you get to peak week. So if you are training for these races, practice this in your long runs. Not every long run is going to feel great. I've had several really crappy ones in this training cycle. And the mantras, I wish I employed them better than I did. And I'm going to try this coming weekend and then the following weekend. I'm going to put a much more concerted effort toward the mantra use than I was doing before. And I'm just going to see if it makes a difference. And then I'll come back and tell you guys. I know it makes a difference. I've done it before, but I just want to see how much of a difference, right? I know it does. Okay, so tip number 1, train your brain like a muscle. So you don't skip your workouts, don't skip your opportunity to train your brain and employ the mantras. So don't wait till race day to come up with one and then use it on race day. You may find that different mantras are applicable at different times in the race, and they help you in different ways. So what you might use earlier in the race might be different than what you use in the middle or even at the end of the race. And we'll talk about that in just a second. But tip number 1 is train your brain like a muscle. Tip number 2 in the 5 ways of how to use mantras in running and in life is keep it short, keep it strong, and keep it true. So a good mantra checks a few different boxes. It's short, it's 3 to 7 words. And I'm going to give you some examples down below of ones that I personally use as well as ones that other runners that I know use, right? So it's short, 3 to 7 words, really quick. It's personal. It's something that resonates with you. Like a mantra for somebody. Some mantras work for other people that might not work for me necessarily, just because that it doesn't it doesn't hit me in the gut. It doesn't fire me up. It just kind of falls flat on me. And the same thing, some things that really hit for me may not hit for another runner. And that's the reason why you have to practice this. You have to employ them in some of your long runs to see if they're really and truly going to help and hit the way that you want them or the way that you need them to, really, right? So number 1, it's short. Number 2, it's personal. It needs to be something that resonates with you. Number 3, it's believable. It's not toxically positive, like all rainbows and sunshine and unicorns, ironically, but it's something real, right? It's very action oriented. Number 4, it tells you something to do, something to focus on, something where you can put your attention, whether it is associative or disassociative, internal or external. And it makes you feel something in your gut. You have to have some kind of reaction to it, right? Think, you have done harder. Okay, I'm just going to say it. Littles, cover your ears. Mamas, turn the radio. Like, don't let the littles, whatever. One of my personal ones, and you laugh if you must, is you have done harder shit than this. And that, for some reason, the little the little sprinkling of the spice in there really hits me different because you know what? It's true. I have done harder things than this. And you know what? I will finish this thing too, right? Some people like the smooth and steady. It just helps them get that kind of metronome clockwork thing going where they get into that flow, like that Tron experience of flow with their music and all of that stuff. Some people get too hyped up at the front of the race and they let the crowd, they let the front pack pull them faster, pull them into a faster pace than they need to be. I am very, very guilty of that. And so I even change my music sometimes and put on like the more relaxing music because I know that I have a tendency to let that front pack pull me into paces faster than I am able to go. And so it helps me calm down. And it's like relax, breathe, go. That's another mantra that I've heard people use. And they're not fluffy, right? They're functional, right? Okay, so a good mantra checks a few boxes. Let me go over them again with you. First, it's short. Second, it's personal. Third, it's believable. Fourth, it's action-oriented. And fifth, it makes you feel something in your gut. Those are the key components of a good mantra. And I really think that first one and that fifth one are the most important pieces. It's short and it makes you feel something. You have to react to it. And you'll know it. Like whenever you hit on the right one at the right place in the race, you will know it. You feel it, like your body feels it. It just starts to react. Okay? All right. So that was tip number 2. Keep your mantra short, strong, and true. Now, tip number 3 on 5 ways to use mantras in running and in life is match the moment. So this is what I was talking about, how you employ different mantras at different times in the race. You may have 2 or 3 different mantras. You may not have the same one. If you're running a really long distance, like a marathon or an ultra, you may have different mantras for different parts of the race. So in your early miles, you're going to keep this one, or at least I can't tell you what to do. I'm going to tell you what I plan to do. The early miles, I'm going to keep this one calm and patient, which is that it's going to pull me out of that tendency to get pulled by that front pack into paces that I am physically not able to do or to hold on to. And so mantras like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be, or relax, breathe, and go. That's the kind of mantra that I'm going to employ early in the race. Is just relax, breathe, and go. And that's going to help me stay out of my head for miles, 1 through 7, where I'm like questioning all of my life's decisions and why on earth did I decide to do this? Relax, breathe, and go. All right, middle miles. This is the big chunk, right? When you're thinking, what have I done? And you may not think this. You may not think this is at all. I'm telling you my experience. My experience is, oh my God, what have I done? I have signed up for another race that I am not physically capable to do, blah, blah, blah. And I keep spiraling, right? Middle miles. Run the mile that you're in. Don't focus on the miles that you've already completed. Don't focus on the miles that you have coming up. If you're on mile 7, run mile 7. If you're on mile 8, run mile 8. Run the mile that you're in. All right. And in the late miles, this is where it's getting tough, right? You've already completed the half marathon portion. If you're using these mantras in the marathon, that's the example that I'm using. So you've already completed a half marathon, right? You're physically able to do that. You've trained for a half marathon. Your body, your training, everything carries you through that half marathon up front. What carries you through the back half, the final 13 miles, is your mind. And so in those late miles, that's when you start to have to pull on the very intrinsic pieces that are like, they get you in your gut, right? The ones that work for me are, I've done harder things. And if you want to focus on something very body focused, one of the ways that I used this with my running buddy in the marathon last year was, how do your legs feel? And then we would just repeat, my legs feel light. Because at the very end, your legs feel so hella heavy and everything is heavy and you're shifting into the zombie shuffle. And it's like, my legs feel light. And that truly, truly, truly makes a difference. And then finally, you split it up into quadrants in the final push, and I'll let you fill in the blank here. It's like, let's go or let's effing go, right? That's in the last mile. That's in the last 2 miles. When you have already hit the wall, you have climbed over the wall, you're scaling down the backside of the wall, and you know that you are right there. It's time to dig as deep as you're going to dig that day, as deep as you can, and let's effing go, right? Okay, so that's tip number 3 on how to use mantras in your running and life, which is match the moment. So you're going to use those early miles to keep you kind of calm and patient, keep me calm and patient. The middle miles just keep you focused, run the mile that I'm in. Late miles is, I've done harder shit than this, or my legs feel light. Probably both of those, actually. And then the final push, and I know that this is what is going to be in my head. I don't know about your head, but in my head, all it is let's effing go. And tip number 4 on 5 ways of how to use mantras in your running and your life. Tip number 4, use triggers to activate these. And so if you're not like one to use, okay, mile 1 to 3, I'm going to use this mantra. Mile 4 to 7, I'm going to use this mantra. If that's not what you're going to be able to do, usually I don't do it that way either. This one comes straight out of sports psychology then, and it's called if-then planning. And this is the science behind automated responses. It removes the decision fatigue of, okay, so I'm in mile 7 and what am I feeling? I'm struggling a little bit. Am I struggling because of this intrinsic, whatever? It removes that. And so it gives you an if-then situation, just like in computer coding. If you encounter this, then do this, right? So if-then planting. Use your words, Lisa. If-then planning. So if I hit a hill, then I think elbows back, chest up. So by pairing a trigger with a phrase, it helps your brain respond automatically when things get tough, right? You don't have to think your way to which mantra you're going to be using. It just becomes automatic. Okay, there's a hill, elbows back, chest up, which automatically helps you drive your elbows and helps you lift your chest so that you can continue breathing and you don't slump over like a 120-year-old zombie like I tend to do. And so I literally have to tell myself every single time, elbows back, chest up. So you don't have to think your way through these mantras. It just becomes automatic. It's if-then planning. It helps you use the mantras when you need them the most. All right, so that was tip number 4 on how to use mantras in running and in life. Use triggers to activate them. It's the if-then planning. Tip number 5 on how to use mantras in running and in life. Use them beyond running. And you heard me refer to Coach Bennett earlier in the podcast because he says, this is about running. This is not about running. And that's why I feel so passionate about so many of these things. And that's because what you experience and you get through and you go through and you train for and you become stronger in out here on the roads, on the trails, in the runs, in the races, in the ultras, in the marathons, all of that strength, all of that confidence, all of that muscle and that endurance and that grit that you build out there also becomes applicable to other parts of your life. So tip number 5 for mantras in running and in life is use them beyond running. Why this works. This interrupts negative spirals and it turns panic into action. See reference above about miles 1 through 7. Mantras are not just for races. They're for everyday life too. So I have used these at work with work stress. I've recently talked about my caregiving situation here at home where we have brought my mother-in-law in to live with us because she's dealing with some health issues. Life's a lot, right? If you haven't had the experience of life just really knocking you down a time or two yet, you just haven't lived long enough, it will come. Right? And so these mantras, these things that you train yourself to pull on to do, they help in all of those situations too. Examples where I've used them before is just be here now. Don't worry about all of the 40 million other things that you have to do on your list. One thing now, be here now. Keep showing up. My personal favorite mantra above them all for any and every situation, whether it's running, whether it's life, whether it's work, whether it's caregiving, it is my personal best effort. I'm going to give my personal best effort because you know what? I cannot possibly give more than that. And my personal best effort might be different from day to day. I might be having more stress. I might have had poor nutrition that week. I might have lost out on a lot of sleep. There could be a myriad of different reasons of what is affecting my personal best effort that day. But you know what? I'm going to give my personal best effort. If that means I can do 2 miles of the 6-mile run during the week, then I'm going to do 2 miles because that's my personal best effort today. That's all I can give. And you know what? It's still my personal best effort. All right. So mantras interrupt those negative thought spirals. It pulls you up out of it. It keeps you out of it. It turns panic into action. And they remind you of your own personal strength when you forget. Mantras interrupt negative thought spirals. They turn panic into action. And they remind you of your own strength when you forget. So Kelly KK Roberts from the Badass Lady Gang said it perfectly with this. Mantras help you stay present, remind you of your strength, and create space between your thoughts and your response. Okay? And that applies just as much to daily life as it does at mile 22. 5 ways of using mantras in running and in life. Number 1, train your brain like a muscle. Number 2, keep it short, strong, and true. Number 3, match the moment. Number 4, use triggers to activate them. And number 5, use them beyond running. Okay, I promised I would share a few of my favorite mantras. I've already shared run the mile that you're in, my personal best effort. Those are 2 of my favorite ones. Another favorite one of mine is I've done harder shit than this. my legs feel light, and then let's effing go. That's my last one. All right, some other mantras that you might hit for you. Just like I was saying earlier, what might work for me might not work for you. So other folks like, this is temporary. That's because sometimes discomfort feels overwhelming in the moment and you feel like, I can't do it, I just need to quit. This is temporary. I know another friend of mine, running buddy, says this too shall pass, right? In life as well as in running. My body knows what to do is another one. That means just trust your training. 1 mile at a time, or the comparative one is run the mile you're in, which is like when you're feeling that the finish line is too far away. And then there's another one. This is particularly effective on your long runs. Hasn't worked as well for me in the races as much, and that is there's several variations of this. Coins in the coin jar, hay in the barn, cookies in the cookie jar. And this refers to every step counts. Even the hard ones, even the slow ones, even the walk-in ones. Every step counts. It all goes toward time on your feet, time in training, right? And then finally, I've heard a lot of people just use strong, whatever that means to you, whatever images pop up in your head. When you feel that, strong. It's very simple and it's straight and to the point. And it's perfect for those moments of doubt that we can sometimes get plagued with. That's 5 ways to use mantras in running and in life. And then I gave you some examples of mantras that I personally use that I'm going to employ in my long runs and the upcoming weekends. And I will come back and let you know. Here's your challenge for the week. Pick 2 or 3 of these, and especially if you're coming up on peak week like me, and use them in training. We haven't quite cooled down. My God, it's still warm in Alabama. So when the runs get hot, when the runs get long, when you're tired, when you do not want to lace up, that one that's like personal best effort, right? Might really come in handy on the days that you don't want to lace up. It might really be there for you. These mantras don't make the miles easier. They make you stronger. Okay, I'm going to repeat that again for the people in the back. Mantras don't make the miles easier. They make you stronger. I would love to hear yours. So if you're listening to this episode, please first go download the episode. That really helps me a lot. And second, leave a comment down below of the mantras that have helped you the most, both in your training miles and also in your races. If you share them with me and you give me the permission, I would love to point them out on an upcoming episode. All right? Speaking of upcoming stuff, let's shift some gears and talk about some upcoming races that you might want to check out. October 18th, we have the Liz Hurley Ribbon Run 5K. I'll be out there with some pink hair and pink pants and pink shoes and all the pink stuff. That's coming up this Saturday, October 18th. October 25th is the Helping Hands Half Marathon and 5K. November 1st is the Knights of Columbus Tootsie Roll 5K. November 8th is the Huntsville Half Marathon. The 22nd is the Dam Bridge Run. November 30th is the Ditto Landing 10K. And December 13th is Rocket City Marathon Weekend. All right, guys and gals and runners and friends, if you are listening and you've got an upcoming race that you haven't heard me mention on Behind the Bib, shoot me a DM or email me over at lisa@behindthebibpodcast.com, and I will include it on the list of upcoming races as well. And speaking of lists of upcoming races, if you haven't gone over to huntsvilleruns.com and provided your email, the awesome Will Nevin sends out an email every Sunday afternoon with all of the group runs in the Huntsville area, as well as the upcoming races every week. So if you want to find out who, where, what to run with, then head over to huntsvilleruns.com, provide your email address, and we'll add you to the list, and you will start getting updates every Sunday night, just like I do. All right, folks, if you don't mind, please go over there and check out Behind the Bib podcast on Instagram, on Facebook, and on YouTube. I would really and truly love your support. Oh, don't forget TikTok. TikTok is out there too. So help me get this content out in front of other runners, racers, and just all around awesome people like you and me. Thanks for being here. Let's keep showing up for one another. Whether you are first, whether you are last, or whether you are somewhere in between. I'll see you next time. We're Behind the Bib. Y'all take care. Bye-bye. You've been listening to Behind the Bib, where we have real talk for every runner.